Summer was around the corner. Adam was standing by his locker with his best friend Laura. They were just talking about random stuff. And since the summer break was just around the corner, Adam and Laura had made plans to hang out this summer. But sadly, when Laura mentioned that she had some bad news, so you're going to be away for the summer? Yeah, for only like a couple of weeks. Oh, so where are you going? Um, my parents had made plans for us to go to Florida for 2 weeks. Florida? Why to Florida, if I may ask? Said Adam. Well, I have a paternal uncle who lives there with his family, and we haven't seen them since, well, almost 2 years. Oh, well, that makes sense. Well, I wish I could spend time with my best friend in the world. Well, you still time out for that, said Adam. Think about it. Summer break is 3 months, and you're just going to be away for like, what, 2 weeks? Yeah, you're right. I almost forgot about that, said Laura with a smile. You know, we should probably hurry up so we won't miss the first classes. Yeah, you're right. It's about to start in a few minutes. We really don't want to be late. Yeah. So Laura said goodbye to Adam and went to her first class in math. And while he was having English, he was actually really curious to see what else this class would be having today. In class, though, he noticed there was one girl that he had a crush on, a girl by the name Cassie. Cassie and Adam actually have been knowing each other since middle school, but it wasn't like into the first year of high school when he actually had a crush on. Now he was in his second year of high school. He really had wished that he could have a time by now to admit or at least confess his feelings towards Cassie. But sadly, he hasn't even been brave enough. The only one in the world that knows about his crush is actually Laura. Even Laura has at many times, tried to encourage him to admit his feelings towards Laura. Against Cassie. But sometimes it is very hard for him. Because every time when he talks to Cassie, they usually talk about some other stuff. It's like a switch in his mind that turns off. Because every time when he tries to find the right words or confess to her or something, that switch is like turned off and he doesn't even know what to talk about other than stuff that she talks about. And that's a little bit annoying to him. But he just wished that he could just be brave enough to admit his feelings. Especially now when the summer break is just only 2 weeks away. He just wished that he could at least been able to tell her by then. But so far it hasn't been lucky. Around the lunchtime, both Adam and Laura were sitting by the cafeteria, just small talking about some stuff that had been planned for the summer break. They had made plans to go to the lake nearby in the area, just swing around or just go to the bowling alley, something like that. They have been best friends since first elementary school. And that's a long time for them to consider it. And in fact, not only that, their families has also been friends for a very long time. So they really grew up with each other. They not only see each other as best friends, but Adam sees Laura as his younger sister. She is only like a few months younger than himself, but he's seeing her as a sister. Even at the beginning, that when some people, like friends when they were first started high school, people first believed that they were a couple. But Laura admits to them that, no, he's my friend. And despite we hang out a lot together, we do almost anything together, but he's my friend. I don't love him in that way. I see him as like a big brother. At first, people didn't buy that story. But after a while, though, they did eventually, because none of them didn't see anything. Because every time that they were having a springtime at school or after school, there were nothing as much romantic feelings towards between them. So people actually bought the story and eventually moved on. But it wasn't until like when Adam confessed to Laura on like 2 weeks after the first year of high school that he had feelings towards Cassie. It was then she really tried to tell him that maybe this is a sign for him to fall in love with someone, and tried to convince him to go to ask her out or something. But he never did, because even at the first year of high school, he was a very shy and very much not that outgoing as a personality. But eventually it took time for him to just be outgoing. But when it comes to about talks about Cassie, he is pretty much conclusive. He pretty much stands away from not even much romantic involvements or anything, because he has never been dating anyone before or after this. But eventually, at some point, he realized that he needs to tell Cassie. But during the lunch break, they were just Cassie was standing by some of her friends at the table, and they were just gasped, laughing and giggle and stuff like that. Even Adam himself, like, you had been told her, haven't you? No, I don't know if I'm even going to. Adam, you needs to be brave enough. I mean, you have been brave enough to stand up against other bullies, but this, you probably should. Well, I don't know. But he was right though. He wasn't really sure how to even confess to Cassie in the first place. But unfortunately, as the time went on, summer break came and the school was over for 2 weeks. And Adam was actually were at Laura's house saying goodbye to her when she went on for vacation for 2 weeks. During that time, Adam was just walking around the town, just do something else, spend time with other friends, but he somehow never saw Cassie anywhere. It turns out she wasn't even in town by the summer, well, at least for a few weeks. He ran into her best friend, Stacy. Stacy were actually still in town, and he just asked her if why she didn't spend time with Cassie, because he knew that they were best friends, and she explains that she is not in town for a couple of weeks. So he felt at least sad that now he has the only time in the world to admit. But he said okay, that just, and she wasn't actually suspicious of anything of another question, because she knew that Adam and Laura was also best friends, and that she also had left town for a couple of weeks, so both of them actually were in the same position. So Adam decided to spend time with Stacy this summer. Well, at least part of it, so they could at least keep each other company and not be bored. But as the summer went on, Adam actually grew more and more brave enough to ask, or at least confess to Cassie. But he decided to do that after summer break was over, when he gets back to the third year of high school. And even after it was like weeks away, but one day it was like over. Summer break was finally over. It felt like this only like weeks away. But as time flying so fast by you never know, he said to himself. But now he was at least confident enough, brave enough. But it would a little bit take some more time before he actually did have courage enough. During a lunch at the cafeteria, he was sitting by with Laura just talking, and he said to Laura, I'm actually going to tell her today. Wait, are you serious? Yeah, I'm not kidding with this time. Well, good luck, she said with a smile. Thanks. So Adam left the cafeteria to find Cassie. He literally didn't find her at first, but she was standing by her locker alone, and he literally walked up to her and asked, hey Cassie, Uh, Hi, Adam. Yeah, can I do something for you? Um, I need to tell you something. Oh? Then he later confessed all his feelings towards her, and Cassie, she was stunned. But she didn't say anything like he was expecting that she would say something like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Adam, but I like you as a friend," or "I'm sorry, Adam, but I'm only seeing someone else." But it was nothing anything to those sentence. In fact, she said that she did like him as well. And he then took the next question by asking if she would like to go out with him. And she said yes. They decided to go out to the movies the same Friday after school. And he was going to pick her up around 4 p.m. at her place. And that same afternoon, when school was over, Adam actually admits to Laura that he's now finally been admit to Cassie and asked her out. She was like, "What? You actually did it? I didn't even expect you would even do it." "Well, I did," and she said yes. Cassie was happy herself that Adam had asked her out, because it turns out even she actually had a small crush on Adam. Because to her, he is a quite handsome young guy and a very popular, very strong, and very polite, young, kind man. And on Friday, they actually went to the movies and they had a great time. He let her choose the movie, and he was expecting maybe a romance comedy or something like that, but it was so nothing that he didn't expect it. She actually picked an action movie, and it turns out she was a big fan of action movies, and he was also a big fan of those. So that's something else that they had in common. But they didn't make official as a couple after like another 3 more weeks when they both made it official. Because they weren't sure if this was gonna last or anything or just temporarily. But they were actually happy. But after like 3 weeks, Adam and Cassie made it official, and everyone at the school was quite happy for them. Everyone except for one person, Robin. Robin was still known as a school bully, and he had no friends at all. Everyone knew that Robin also had a crush on Cassie, but when he found out that now she is been dating Adam, and he flipped out. Because one day, Adam was by his locker with Laura in the morning, and just as he was just grabbing his math books or something like that, he noticed was a note, and he first thought, "Oh, a note from Cassie maybe," but it wasn't from Cassie. It was actually for someone else. "Oh, yeah, a note from Cassie, I think." "No, I don't think so." And then he said, "Oh my god, but what is it?" He Adam was stunned, and Laura took the note and read, "I dare you." I know it said like, "I demand you to leave Cassie alone. She is mine. Leave her." But it was not signed by anyone. Who could have done this? I have no idea. "Do you have any enemies by any chance, Adam?" asked Laura. "No. I mean, I have no enemies at all. Everyone here likes me. Everyone." "Huh. I wonder who's it gonna be though. Are you going to show this to Cassie?" "No, I don't think so. I don't want her to freak out or anything this is just probably another fake threat or something. It just sets demand like to stay away from her, but no." So he took the note and put it in his pocket and just walked to class. And even during lunch break, he spent time with Cassie. And he didn't mention on this note anything about her because, and he also requested to Laura not to do the same thing because he didn't want her to be freaked out, and for good reason. But even though he still believes this was just a fake threat, but he's still curious. Who could have given that to him? But after that note, though, nothing else happened. He expected to maybe find another note or something in his locker next day or something, but nothing. But it only took 2 more days, around Friday, when he found a second note. But this time he was alone in the hallway, and he's like, another note. He opened it, and it has even more worse contents this time. I thought I told you to stay away from my girl. I warn you this time. Next time it won't be a good one. And he still didn't see who could sign it. There was no a name or anything, but this time he took it quite serious. He kept the note and he went to first class what he had with Laura. And before the class even started, he did mention this and show the note, but he just told her, be quiet, don't show anything, because he wasn't sure if this was a student. So she read the note and she was equally terrified. She begged him to tell the principal or anyone at the staff, but he was like, no, I don't think this is I should take it serious. Adam, this is really serious. The first note was probably like a joke or something, but this is clearly a threat towards you. And I'm concerned. Don't worry, I can handle this. Are you sure? Yes. And Adam actually felt he was confident enough to handle this. By next week, he still hasn't even told Cassie, but Laura had kept her promise not to mention anything. But on Monday, Anna found a third note, and it said, I told you to stay away from my girl. Next, this is your final warning. If you continue, I, personally, take care of the problem. But this time was signed as with a knife. This time, Laura demanded Adam to take this note and the other 2 previous ones that Adam somehow kept as maybe something. But Adam still refused. Adam can be stubborn sometimes, but this one is when Laura felt very much concerned about his safety. But Adam still refused. But she told him, don't come to me to blame me or tell me that I didn't warn you. I know, but I'm sure this is just some stupid, elaborate prank of some kind. A prank in this level, in this statement, now with this a knife on his note. I don't think this is a kind prank, Adam, said Laura. But Adam still refused to even to believe this, and he kept the note as well. But that same afternoon, when Adam were actually talking to Cassie by his car, and they were just talking and they said goodbye, but as Adam was driving away, he noticed something. When he was about to hit the intersection of the red light, but as he was about to put the brakes, nothing happened. He was driving a little bit at a normal speed, but still, he tried to push the brakes, but nothing happened. And he was getting closer and closer to the intersection. And he realized the brakes was working perfectly fine this morning when he drove to school. And the day before that, something had happened. But he has no time to think because he was only like 6 feet away from the intersection. And suddenly, by stroke of luck, he managed to get idea. He saw there was a big tree in the front of just before the intersection. He had only two options. One, continue the driving without anybody being able to stop the car, knowing there might be other cars in the intersection from the different directions, by hit by a car or maybe worse, a truck. So he decided the worst case scenario that he could be struck by a car or something. So he chose to steer to the right, and he flew right towards a tree. But luckily though, it didn't damage the car seriously. But it still released the airbags, and he was shocked for a moment. And even some other students in the area was walking home saw it happen. Some actually called for an ambulance and the police. Adam gave his statements to police and ambulance after the EMTs looked at him. And he explained that the brakes were working perfectly fine even before he got to school this morning and the day before. And sure enough, after that the police had the mechanic look at the car, turns out someone had tampered with the brakes. It turns out someone actually made this on purpose. But still, Adam has no other option, but he revealed to the police officers that someone had made a threat towards him. And they asked who. He said he didn't know. They asked if he had any other proof of this. And he said yes, I still have the notes that this particular person had given me. So he gave the first notes to the police and expected maybe not to find anything. Unfortunately, the police didn't find anything that could be tied to this person. But the police took the notes quite serious. And now Adam has no other option, because the next day his parents, along with Laura, went to the principal's office. They informed the principal exactly what had been happening. And he was stunned. Nothing like this has ever had happened in the school's history, and especially during his time as a principal. But he was really stunned, because when Adam explained the first two notes he got, he didn't take the essay any serious. He thought maybe it was some elaborate prank or something. And the principal could understand why he thought so. But after the third note, and that Laura's statement to call the police or go to the principal or tell anyone, Adam was actually still convinced that it was just some sort of prank or something. But he could see the principal wouldn't take the third note as some sort of prank, because when he mentioned a knife on it. So Adam was asked by the principal, Adam, I'm going to ask you, do you have any idea who could have done this? Do you have any enemies? Have you made anyone upset about this? No, I cannot even think about anyone. I mean, anyone likes me here at the school, the staff, the students, everyone. I don't have anything that's considered as an enemy. I don't know if I never made anyone pissed off or something. I don't even know what the world is going on, said Adam shockingly. But it must be someone. I may have just one possibility, said Laura. Who? Robin. Robin? Yeah, and Laura explained to the principal. So he might be the one. I can't say for certain, but it's like a feeling that Robin could be the one behind all this, because everyone at school knows that he has a crush on Cassie himself too, because he hadn't even tried to ask her out, but she rejected him at different occasions. And I can only assume that after he found out that Cassie is not dating Adam, who is a quite handsome young guy, is popular among the staff and students, it would surprise me if someone like him would be furious, angry enough to take that step in trying to terrifying him into break up with Cassie and stay away from her. That's all I can think of. The room was silent. She might be right, said Adam. Because even though everyone at school do like me, but Adam said Robin is probably the only one that doesn't even talk to me that much. But I mean, in the beginning, he did tolerate me, and it's not all that. He has been bullying other students at the school for time, ever since he first started high school. And I think Laura may be right. He might be the one that could have been done this, but going this far by cutting the brakes on my car in order to make me stop by be with Cassie, I think that's is too far. And it was once again silent. And the principal said, "You know, might be hard to prove, even despite you have these two notes and the suspicions that he might be the one behind this. But we have no proof no witnesses saying that he was the one who has been tampering your car or been at the locker with those notes. So I'm sorry that there's nothing else I can do since we don't have any strong evidence. If there's anyone that has seen this happening, like if people be around your car or something, this is something that ties my hands. There's not much I can do about this. I'm sorry, but I do believe you this. I do believe that he might be the one causing this, but without any other solid proof or any witnesses, my hands are tied. And the police has told me the same thing, that they also had no luck in finding any proof. I understand the principle. I just wish that we could find any such proof. I hope so. Because let's hope that if Robin is the one behind this, that he has finally stopped. That he realized now the police has been involved, that he won't be not crazy enough to even continue this particular plans or something. Let's hope you're right though about the principle. So Adam left this office with his parents and Laura. Even Laura herself was very concerned, but now at least it's like, I told you so kind of moment. Yeah, you were right. But I don't even know. Listen, if you had told the principal about this before, it's not. But Laura, even if I had told the principal even before things happened with my car, it's no guarantee that the brakes would even be tempered otherwise. It still couldn't have been happened, despite if I got the principal. Yeah, you may be right. So you probably should tell Cassie by now. I mean, I think she knows something is wrong. Yeah, you may be right. So after school was over, now is when Adam's car was still being fixed on, and so he had been using his dad's old car, which is still functional. Over here, Cassie, said Adam. Cassie walked over to him. What is your car? This is my car for temporarily. What happened? Well, let's say, you may heard about the car crash out near the school a couple of days ago. Yeah? That was my car. What happened? And Adam explains about what happened to the car and suddenly about the notes. Wait, so this has been going on for like 2 to 3 weeks and you hadn't even told me about it? Why? I'm sorry, I just don't want to worry you. Well, I'm worried now. And the police aren't going to do something? The police can't do much about it. But why not? Then he explains. So, despite the car being tampered with the brakes and the notes, there is not much they can do, and the principle's the same. That's pretty much it, yeah. I mean, if there were any witnesses who saw who was tampering with my car, or if there was anyone who saw anything around with my locker, that would have been something. Yeah, I wonder who could have done it though. Unless Robin is behind this. Wait, Robin? Yeah, I mean, you know that he has a crush on me as well. Yeah, I know that. And I did mention that to the principal. Well, Lauren did. But he said, without any other proof, there isn't much else he can do. Even though he's probably right that he do think he might be the ones who come and causing this. And causing by asking around more questions about his potential involvement. I don't know what he believed being capable of doing. Yeah. So, yeah, let's hope that this is over by now. But for what Adam didn't know, was way before over. Because by the next day, Adam found another note this time in his car, in his locker. It said, quote, "Ha, so you survived the accident. I should probably take the next step even further this time. Perhaps even, I don't know, something better." But this time also a smiley face with a knife as a new assignment. Now, Adam was now even more terrified. But this time, he went straight to the principal and showed the note. But still, despite there's nothing they can do. But luckily though, because by the end of the day, Adam was called over to the principal's office. He said, "Adam, I may have found something for you." "Oh? What is it?" "Do you remember the note you said showed me earlier today?" "Yeah? What is about it?" "We have finally found a witness." "Wait, you have? Who?" And he pointed to the door, and then the janitor walked in. The janitor was actually in the hallway just around the corner when he saw this student walking over to the locker. Turns out, even though it wasn't his locker, because if it was his, he would open it. And the principal had asked the janitor to point out a picture in the school book. And he pointed out one particular student, Robin. Now they have at least a witness, but unfortunately that was only circumstances. But they didn't have to go far, because turns out not only the janitor saw it, but another student, this time, was actually a female student, a friend to Robin. She confirmed to the principal and the janitor was also that she saw it happen too. And by the same next day, when Robin was suddenly called into her principal's office, he was expecting maybe just something had happened or something. But when he found out that police was there and his parents, and at first he was just trying to act cool and calm, that nothing worked. But when the principal asked him about these notes, he denied that has anything involved with it. But he said, "Robin, we have two witnesses showing that you were by Adam's locker, and the principal also revealed that the police had pulled fingerprints from the last note, and they even had used one of Robin's items in school, and those fingerprints matched. And not only that, the police decided to make fingerprints on the other three notes. Even though they only found the word fingerprints, but they ruled out one of them had both Adam and Laura's fingerprints. Every single other ones matched. Despite this, Robin denies anything. But eventually when he got caught, his parents told him, "Robin, you had to come clean. That's why the evidence is here. Dad, this is not me. I've been framed." "By who?" "Adam, of course." "Adam." But the police told them that there's no way to anyone's gonna believe that story. Eventually, Robin confessed. He only did this to us to make Adam to leave Cassie so that he could be with Cassie. But when the police and the principal both said that tampering with the car's brakes was maybe a way too far, what he didn't know that if Adam had died, he would have been eventually still been found as a culprit, and he could have ended up in a serious criminal record, and not only juvenile, but perhaps even lifetime in jail. That terrified him, and then he confessed all that it was actually true. But he didn't mean that this was going to be this far, and he was only originally attempting to empty the car's gasoline tank so that the car would just stop middle of the road somewhere on the way home as part of the break. But he didn't actually plan to do the brakes from the beginning. But despite this, Robin was caught and he was expelled and he was arrested. But luckily though, Adam didn't put any charges against him for that, but his parents did. So Adam was at least happy that now Robin was gone. And Robin, he ended up in juvenile hall for the next several years. But Adam though, he was afraid that his relationship with Cassie would have been damaged and that she would leave him. But surprising enough to him, she didn't. Because this was nothing his fault. Even though in the beginning that he refused to even to admit or even want to tell anyone about it, but she understands his worries and his confinement to be brave enough, courage to ignore the threats. But she can understand the two threats that who knows that was given to him, seemed to be harmless. But after the third note and the fourth, it was now when she realized that Robin had a screw loose, as she said. But after that, Adam and Robin, after that moment, Adam and Cassie remained a much solid, good relationship. And even afterwards, after they finished high school, Adam actually went to a college in a neighboring state, while Cassie remained in their hometown as for community college. After they both finished high school together and also later college, they literally moved in together in a small apartment which they rented. Despite what they went through in the early years, in the youth, their relationship remained strong. They were really strong bonded. But what it turns out for Robin though? Robin has tried to send a letter to Adam to apologize for what he did do when put him through, and only ask forgiveness and that he understands that Robin was not want to have anybody involved in his life anymore. He just felt jealous, and the jealousy blinded him, made him feel a rage. But he has moved on, and Adam did eventually forgave Robin. But Adam mentioned that he preferred not to have any further contact with Robin or afterwards, even when he gets released from juvenile hall. And Robin actually pretty much accepted that, and he didn't have any other further contact with either Cassie or Adam ever since. But from our mutual friends, they later found out that Robin did move out of state and eventually did find someone else and got married and started a family with. So at least Cassie and Adam and also Laura were just happy that Robin had moved on and get better for himself and found someone else to be with. And eventually after that both Adam and Cassie had finished high school and college, especially college, they got married only 2 years after both finished college. And they first had later on a daughter which they named Laura after Adam's best friend, and a son which they named Adam Jr. Adam was really happy to have found his true love, despite what he went through in his youth. Even Cass herself actually agreed. This went really crazy how they end up being. But that is another story for another time. This is how Adam and Cassie found true love and found together. The end.